What one thought do you want people to keep in mind when they think about LucidLink?
LucidLink is collaborative storage for media and entertainment workflows. If you need to do creative work anywhere you want, with anyone you want, whenever you want. If you've ever used a hard drive in your lifetime, which obviously creative people have, you already know how to use us. We're tool agnostic, we're workflow agnostic. The administrators and IT people love us because we're so secure. The creatives love us because it's extremely known and familiar. You don't have to learn a new workflow or bend your workflow to accommodate the technology. The technology bends to accommodate you. LucidLink is collaborative storage for media and entertainment workflows. So imagine a world where all the media, all your files, doesn't matter what they are, the camera that made them, how you film them, or the kind of content that you're making. All the media is stored in the cloud. However, it looks like a regular hard drive. Now, if you've ever used a regular hard drive in your lifetime, which I imagine you have, Larry, as have your listeners, you already know how to use LucidLink. The benefit of using something like LucidLink is because it looks like a regular hard drive, and more importantly, performs like a regular hard drive, there's nothing new to learn, and you can collaborate with anyone, anywhere in the world, with nothing new to learn, completely in a way that is tool agnostic, workflow agnostic. You have the benefit of collaboration over distance, with the comfort and familiarity of a conventional hard disk. That is LucidLink.
But I disagree, my young child.
Oh?
Here's the problem. When you said that it has all the performance of a locally attached hard drive, but it doesn't. My internet connection doesn't transfer at gigabyte speeds. So what does performance mean to you?
Performance is up to the creative to decide what performance is. And usually if you're a creative, if you're working in a video editing tool or visual effects or audio, it doesn't make a difference. Performance to that person means that you hit play on your creative tool and you get real-time performance. That's what performance means to them and ultimately to us. We are able to accommodate all kinds of bandwidth. We're not breaking the laws of physics. If anything, the smarts come with our ability to accommodate all kinds of natural constraints that we get in our present-day modern world of working in a distributed remote way. There were bandwidth issues even when we worked in facilities. That's not new. Obviously, the issues and challenges with working in a distributed way today are much more noticeable when you're working in coffee shops or home environments or facilities, or maybe you're in a facility, but you're collaborating with somebody who's in a coffee shop or at home. We have pretty smart caching technology that begins with the way we actually store the data itself. So if I could talk a little bit about how the sausage is made. When you copy data to LucidLink, and that data can be anything, any format, frame rate, bit rate, codec, we don't care. We're completely agnostic to the media itself. We actually can't even see the data for security reasons. That's a self-imposed constraint that we call zero knowledge. Once the data is copied, we actually slice it into tiny little slices, and each slice is really small, 256 kilobytes in size. Now, if you're old-timers like me, not a young guy like yourself, I'll say that 5 of those little slices is equal to 1 floppy disk, just to kind of put into perspective how small that is. Creators may not really care about that, but what they will care about is that we are able to stream the extreme minimum amount of data on demand as requested by the creative tool that's doing the asking. Basically, we provide just the amount of data needed at the playhead when the playhead says, give me these blocks of data so I can draw a video frame, for example, in real time the way the operator expects it. And that is possible because of the way we store the data in the first place. Now, when bandwidth is extremely compromised, we have a caching technology called pinning. So if you use LucidLink, you can right-click on a file or a folder or a collection of folders and choose pin. And what that's doing is that is caching the entire file to your local disk, but it's not breaking collaborative workflows. It's not committing what I like to call the 3 sins of downloading. So the 3 sins, as I like to joke, is when you download something conventionally, certainly you're getting the benefit of the performance of a local disk, but you're breaking collaborative workflows because I now have a copy and now you have a copy and I can't see what you're doing and you can't see what I'm doing. So a conventional download, which intrinsically there's nothing wrong with that, but if your need is to collaborate with other people, you've already broken that the moment you download. And for those that care about security, a conventional download is creating a security risk because the administrator can't take that back. So we have ways of accommodating insufficient bandwidth with various caching technologies.
Okay, let's back up about 3 steps because I'm really confused.
Okay.
If I take a 1080 file in ProRes 422, that's 16 megabytes a second.
Mm-hmm.
If I take a 4K ProRes 422 file, that's 72 megabytes a second.
Mm-hmm.
I've got gigabit Ethernet, and I can't deliver more than 20 megabytes at best. So there's no way that I can take, quote, any format and stream it. So there's got to be some sort of compression involved.
There's no compression in the video context. So we actually don't even know about the data itself. So I come from a post-production background, as do you. We know that there are things like video compression, but that's not what we're doing. We actually store the data at a binary level. It's exactly the same as its point of origin. What we are doing is we're providing this ability to cache the data in such a way that we're not breaking collaborative workflows, but accommodating the bandwidth that you have wherever you happen to be. So if you have a UHD, ProRes 444, 2398 file, a big heavy file, can be anything, it really doesn't matter. If the bandwidth that you have is inadequate, let's say it's not even a heavy file, let's say it's a modest file, but still the bandwidth that you have is not adequate for the format that you're trying to play, then we would encourage someone to try the pinning technique, which means you're caching the whole file from beginning to end, but you're not creating the need for a conventional download, which again breaks those collaborative workflows, creates security concerns, and is kind of sloppy from a media management standpoint. So pinning, I would say if you were a brand new user, I would say that pinning is the best of both worlds. You're reaping the benefit of the local disk performance, but you're not breaking the fact that you're in a shared storage environment, whether you're working by yourself or with teammates. You're not breaking that collaborative workflow. That's what pinning and its close cousin caching are affording the end user, so that when they do hit play, they get real-time performance, which is really what they care about, not the way the real-time performance is made possible.
Security. How do we make sure this stuff is safe?
Lots of ways. Well, right out of the gate, you get the administrator, whether it's yourself administrating your own file space. We call it, the hard drive is called a file space. There's a username and a password, so at minimum, that's how you ensure that the right eyeballs are seeing the content. You authenticate to the file space in question. We also have integrations with single sign-on providers if that's what people are using, so you have another layer of security. But perhaps most importantly, the data is fully encrypted, both at rest, which means it's sitting somewhere, it's either on your local cache or it's in the cloud, and it's also encrypted in flight, meaning the data is physically in the process of being streamed. So it's encrypted end-to-end. When the data is written to your local cache, for example, even when you disconnect the LucidLink file space, when you dismount the drive, the cache data may be there, but it's fully encrypted. It's basically scrambled blocks that no human being can understand, no application can understand until you authenticate with the proper user. And even after you authenticate, whoever that administrator is, they're giving you access to the content you're allowed to see, either read-write access or read-only access to just the folder that you're allowed to see for whatever workflow reason. And you're not allowed to see the stuff that you're not allowed to see because that's what a human administrator is deciding for you.
You just announced LucidLink 3. What's that?
So one of the things that we hear the most from our customers is that our customers love the workflow. They love the simplicity of LucidLink. They love the performance. There's one Achilles heel that we hear about again and again, and that is the only way to use LucidLink at present is to install our desktop client. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how you get the performance that we advertise. The catch, though, is that may be fine for people who are using desktop applications, a video editor, a color tool. And as far as they're concerned, they install this piece of software, they mount their drive, their LucidLink drive, and off they go. But we all know that teams big and small, there's lots of collaborators who need to see the content and participate in the workflow. They may not be editors or colorists. They might be a producer, a post-production supervisor, a creative director, an assistant, your mom and dad, it doesn't matter. Somebody else wants to be a participant in that workflow. And what are the tools and touch points that they're accustomed to? A browser and a mobile device. So what's really at the core of LucidLink 3.0 is we're taking the experience that we already have and we're really extending it to these other obvious touch points that are part of any creative workflow. So LucidLink 3.0 is a brand new desktop client, but also a brand new browser client, as well as a new app for both iOS and Android. And now anyone with any device can see the content and participate in any creative workflow, and that's really what's at the root, from an experience standpoint, of LucidLink 3.0.
And when does it ship?
October 31st, Halloween.
How does LucidLink price their services?
So at the moment, we have three ways to price and offer our LucidLink service. We have two bundled plans. The advanced plan is based off of the IBM cloud storage. Extremely high performance, and it comes at $80 a terabyte, and you get 5 users. Every user beyond that is about $10 for an additional user. That's the advanced plan. If you need something that's more affordable, we have a basic plan for $20 a terabyte based off of Wasabi. A lot of our customers will use both. They'll use the advanced plan for their work-in-progress production storage because they need that high performance. They need a guarantee, basically, that they're going to get real-time performance when they need it, the way they define it. But they also have archival elements. They have last year's work that they did. They have other seasons. They may have sound effects libraries or file footage, whatever it is. They'll probably put that on a basic file space, and they'll combine both the basic and the advanced file space. That's with IBM and Wasabi. If you want to bring your own cloud storage, you can choose whether it's Google Cloud or AWS or Microsoft Azure. It doesn't matter. Anything that is S3 compliant, S3 object storage compliant, you can bring your own storage, and that's our custom plan. One thing to flag about our advanced and basic plans is it includes egress. If you don't know what egress is unavoidable in any kind of video or media and entertainment or media workflow in general. The second you hit play on a creative tool, on a video editor, for example, if your data is stored in the cloud, you're reading that data from the cloud storage, that's egress. Other providers are going to charge you for that. We bundle it, we include it. So there's no egress whatsoever with the bundled plans. If you go with a custom, that's great, but that might mean that you're paying for egress independently from some other cloud provider.
If I'm doing a project, and let's say my project takes 6 months, can I get the advanced plan for 6 months and then transfer the media locally?
Of course, it's pay as you go. Very, very flexible. You can speak to a salesperson and establish a contract, or you can just pay as you go month by month. And if you need to push data from advanced to basic, because you don't need that content right there and then, you certainly can do that. I would look to next year for some very exciting developments that I can't quite talk about just yet when it comes to certain kinds of workflows, tiered workflows. But right now, you can copy data to the basic plan and displace it or delete it from the advanced plan if you don't need it right now. Or that data might be something that is low bit rate enough that you get real-time performance from the basic file space. So you can do all your production work off of a basic file space. It really depends on the demands of the workflow.
What one thought do you want people to keep in mind when they think about LucidLink?
There's basically nothing to learn if you need to do creative work anywhere you want, with anyone you want, whenever you want. If you've ever used a hard drive in your lifetime, which obviously creative people have, you already know how to use us. We're tool agnostic, we're workflow agnostic. The administrators and IT people love us because we're so secure. The creatives love us because it's extremely known and familiar. You don't have to learn a new workflow or bend your workflow to accommodate the technology. The technology bends to accommodate you. That should be the takeaway.